Well. El Clasico. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really want to make this video, but I decided I made the channel. I'm a Barcelona fan. I had to speak about something. And yeah, I don't really have any structure. Normally, watching games, I take notes to make these videos. As the game goes on, I'll write something in my little notes app on my iPhone and just, use that as a basis for the video. But I'll be honest, guys, I really I didn't write anything during this game. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Australia, and the game kicked off at 2:15 a.m. So yeah, I went to bed at around 10. I woke up at 2:15, and I was very, very sleep deprived. But being a true fan, well, I think I'm a true fan. I watched the whole game, and yeah, it was tough to watch, and especially after last season, how much we truly dominated Madrid. I was really hoping we'd keep that form running and keep that going. But I'll be honest, a lot of the issues and concerns I had before the game ended up becoming true. So, obviously, there's a lot of talking points in this game. The main one, I guess, is the fact that Madrid dominated us. This game could have ended a lot higher. Like, I know people and myself, especially after the game immediately, got a bit frustrated because I thought that we could have maybe got something from it, a result. Especially Koundé in the last minute with that header, or like the miscontrolled chest that I think he should have headed. Fermin Lopez as well with a really good chance to equalise early on in the half that I think he completely fumbled by not passing it off. There were these moments that, as a Barca fan, I was very critical at first, and I was very, very upset. But looking back, with fresh eyes and with the game gone by now, Madrid deserved to win. That's undisputable. I just think we were weak. I think the main issue with Barca this game and just this season once again is the intensity. Like, obviously, we know we have issues with our backline. The offside trap isn't as sharp as it used to be, and there's issues with the offside trap itself in terms of like the defenders not, defending the best individually and as a system. But I think the main issue with the offside trap, why it's not working, and just with the team in general, is the lack of intensity and courage that we have up front. I spoke about this in my previous video where I spoke about, what I thought was going wrong with Barcelona in the last few games, those sort of losses that we picked up with PSG and Sevilla. And I think the main reason was our lack of pressing and intensity up front. And you could really see that today. Ferran Torres, man, I just really don't know. Like, he shouldn't have come back for this game, in my opinion. Yeah, we missed Rafinha, we missed Lewandowski, we missed Gavi, high presser. We had no intensity in this game. It looked like we were basically walking. I saw a tweet that kind of summed it up best. When the game started, it looked like all our players worked a 10-hour shift beforehand. It was just horrible. Yeah, just going in the game generally, I'll speak about the lineup. First of all, this was the lineup I expected. Obviously, it was really frustrating to see that Rafinha got injured in training. That's a topic for another day. But the lineup was expected. I was hoping, though, in my opinion, what I would have done if I was Hansi Flick was I would have started Rashford up front, Firmino left wing / left attacking mid, and I would have actually played Casado instead of playing Ferran Torres. I would have put Casado in that 6 and sort of had a midfield 3 of Casado, Pedri, and De Jong. That's personally how it would have lined up. That would have given us a little bit more defensive solidity. And I think that Ferran Torres just wasn't ready to play today. He was not sharp. He wasn't pressing hard enough. He did well, to help the press for that first goal, but that was about it. There were so many times he got on the ball, lost it immediately. He just was not sharp, and he was not the player we needed. And I really saw it, especially after the game. I was looking at people analysing the game. There were so many times where Madrid had a high line, and it looked like they had so much space. All we had to do was just play a long ball over the top for Ferran Torres or anyone to run into. And obviously, Ferran Torres has never made that run, and that really cost us this game. There's so many things. That's how I would have gone with the lineup. And, I think I'm going to make a video later on about Barcelona generally and where I think we need to, fix up going forward for the season. But I thought I'd just make this quick video just to speak about the game, because obviously our biggest game of the season so far. Talking about individual players, I'll go through everyone. I'm not going to do rankings this time because I really can't be bothered. But Chesney, he was amazing. I think it was a bit shaky on that first goal. He could have potentially done a little bit better, but his performance after that, just amazing. I'm so grateful to Stegen wasn't in goals. That was his first save from a penalty for a Barcelona goalkeeper since early 2022. That says a lot. If it wasn't for Chesney, we would have gone down in this game like 5 or 6 goals. He was honestly amazing and probably our best player, I'd say. Balde, he was okay, a bit shaky defensively, but once again, I don't really blame him. It was very hard to sort of work with what he had, and he was all right. Garcia and Kubasi, just not good enough, man. Like, Once again, they were good in the ball, had a few good moments, a few good last-ditch tackles as well, a couple times. But like the first goal and even the second goal, like just all Madrid's chances and all their goals. The first one was just horrible reading from Kubasi, and the second goal, like I don't know what went wrong. The defensive awareness just wasn't there from both of them. It was such an easy goal to concede. Like we shouldn't be conceding that at the level we're at. But I don't blame as much, or blame them as much, I'd say, because of the right back Koundé. I don't know what's gone wrong with Koundé this season, guys. I spoke about it in the last video, but he is not the player he was last season. Something's wrong with him, and I don't want to be too harsh on him because I don't know if it's something personal that's going on in his life at the moment, but he was absolutely horrible today. Taking aside that chance he missed in the last minute, just his performance in general was horrible. He was kept on walking. He just had no idea how to hold the line. Everything about the performance was just horrid, and it did not impress me. De Jong, I thought, was one of our better players today. I think he played okay. Generally, our midfield, I feel like none of them played necessarily bad, but they were just out-muscled and just out-physicaled by Real Madrid's midfield, who I thought were just amazing. Pedri had an okay game. Not his best, not his worst. He was all right, and obviously the red card doesn't really help. But actually, it does technically help in a way, because now we get some rest, which is actually pretty good. And also, it's really frustrating to see that we conceded just after Pedri made that really good tactical foul on Vinny. I was, out of my bed cheering when he pulled Vinny back. That was a pretty good moment, but unfortunately, it was for no reason. Firmine, I thought was, good. He got his goal, obviously, but I do think he could have done better in that second chance where he didn't pass off to Rashford or lmao. But then again, I guess as a professional footballer who's on good form in that sort of moment, you kind of back yourself, so I don't really blame him too much. I thought otherwise he was okay. His defensive actions were alright, but not the best. Rashford was good again today. A few moments I feel like he could have been more confident and made those runs in behind that he didn't, but got the assist. I can't really complain. Ferran Torres, I already spoke about him, just horrible in my opinion. And the main man I want to talk about here is Lamine Yamal. Obviously, a big talking point in this game was sort of what happened on social media and him, having some big talk before the game. And I think that just went completely against us. I don't think he necessarily had a stinker, as a lot of people are seeming to put out. But I think that his words before the game and some of the stuff he was saying, I think it really motivated Madrid. And I think that gave the Madrid the hunger they needed to get over the line in this game. I think if it wasn't for Yamal making those comments, I don't think Madrid would have been as hungry and as determined to sort of get it. And obviously you saw it with the end of the game, Carvajal, sort of telling him to stop speaking so much, which I have a lot of thoughts on. I just think it's ridiculous, especially considering their teammates. And Carvajal could have done that in private, as De Jong said, but yeah. I just think that, I don't know. See, Yamal's performance is interesting because I actually think if you look at the overall performance, I think he was actually okay. He is probably some of the best link-up players I've seen him do. He was coming in deep a lot. He was, sort of making really good sharp passes, bringing and dragging a lot of plays out and bringing the ball back into teammates and freeing them up. I think this is one of his better, playmaking performances in terms of him, passing and sort of, progressing and, freeing up teammates. But I do think because he was just a bit shy and, short of confidence and short of, hunger, he didn't really, have that Lamine Yamal spark that everyone, loves him for, which is the whole thing of him taking on plays. He didn't really attempt many dribbles today. And I think that was, just a lack of courage from him, in my opinion. I don't know if he's carrying an injury, which is the reason why, but I just think he wasn't as courageous as he normally is. And I think that courage and that fearlessness is what makes Lamine Yamal who he is. But I still think he did well otherwise. I think he was, there were a lot of good times where he was keeping possession, making the smart choice in terms of holding the ball and not losing it and not giving it away easily. So I think he was all right in that sense. And I think when he moved into a more central position, I think he actually did well. I think it's kind of a hint of things to come in the future. But I'll speak more about Lamine Yamal another time again. I'll make another video about my sort of thoughts of him at the moment and his development in the future. But I think he was okay. Obviously, not his greatest performance, and he could have stepped up and done a lot better. But then again, you look at other moments, like if Firmino made that pass to him in that chance, would he have scored? If Koundé didn't mess up that chance, he could have ended with an assist. I still think he had an okay game, but I think two reasons made his game seem not as good as some people sort of, I think, should see it as. I think the main reason, number one, is, always talk before the game. If you're going to talk to that level, you have to step up and really, really put in the vintage performance. Otherwise, it automatically looks worse, which is what happened. And I think the second thing is too, I think he's a victim of his own standards. I think we're so accustomed to seeing lmao hit these insane heights already at the age he is, like the Inter Milan game, that a sort of okay, quiet, still decent game like this seems really bad for him, when you're, like, realistically, if anyone else put in that performance, you'd probably be impressed. But yeah, moving on to the subs too, I think Araujo was pretty good in this game. I honestly think he could have started. I know I've had a lot of bad thoughts on Araujo, but these are the sort of games where I think he thrives, where Madrid, putting us on the back foot a lot of times, and like he's not exactly the best defender when it comes to like the high line and his IQ, but I think if you're talking about purely defending, clearing balls from crosses, just sitting deep and just making pure defensive actions, I think Araujo is one of the best in the world at that, and I think we did need that, especially his physicality today. Like, look at that second goal we conceded. If he was there, that could have gone differently. He's a bit taller, he's a bit stronger, he might have won that ball. Even the first goal, his pace might have ended up, working out in that back line and sort of catching up to Mbappe, but I guess we'll never know. The other lads I think did okay, but yeah. Look, pretty rough game. I just thought I'd make a quick video just to give my thoughts on this. I'm not concerned in terms of moving forward. I do generally think that when we get everyone back, a full team, especially Rafinha, I think we'll be able to compete, and I honestly am pretty confident that we can do well in the future of Clasico and the rest of the season. I don't think Madrid were as good as a lot of people, have sort of put them out to be. I think they are beatable, and I think that when we do have our full team, we can expose them and take advantage of the weaknesses. But yeah. Anyway, just a quick little video I just thought I'd make. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, this is the turning point for us, and hopefully Hansi Flick realizes where we're at and what we need to do to improve. But yeah, thanks. Bye.